What's going on, guys? So this is my post-ride review of the Harley Davidson Pan America. I'm going to put a link in the description below of my ride-along video where you can see this motorcycle in action and catch my reactions in real time. But a spoiler alert on that, yes, I kind of did get a little bit gushy about this motorcycle. Kind of fell in love with it a little bit, but anyway, look, before I start talking about this bike, I've got to send a huge thank you to Hunter and David over at Stubbs Cycles and Stubbs Harley Davidson for allowing me the opportunity to bring you this bike. Guys, thank y'all so much for the hospitality. Okay, guys, time to talk about the Pan America. Talk about a motorcycle that has kind of transformed the way that I see the sport touring segment and the way that I view Harley Davidson as a brand. Now, what am I going on about? Well, first of all, I want to talk about the motorcycle and just the performance aspects of it because it is so good from a subjective and from an objective point of view. So subjectively speaking, I want to talk about the looks of this thing. I absolutely love that this is a purely Harley Davidson take on the class of sport touring motorcycle. You know, a lot of the sport touring bikes, they all kind of start to look alike. They kind of look like an old dual purpose type of a machine. Yeah, not the Pan America. This thing has got a very unique front cowl, very reminiscent of those old school Harley baggers back in the day, just shrunk down a little bit, restylized for this bike. I love it. I love seeing that 1250cc RevMax engine from the side with the dual exhaust. I just love that 2-into-1 look coming out the back. Such a hot rod styling, and it is setting itself apart from the other motorcycles in its class. But it's not just the looks. There's another thing that just is a Harley Davidson hallmark, and you cannot sell around this. That's the ergonomics of this machine. Guys, sitting on this motorcycle, the way that the handlebars fall into hand, the width of the bar, the way that the rest of the TFT screen and the controls fall into your eye line, the way that the motorcycle feels underneath you, the way your feet hit the pegs, all of these ergonomic nitpicking things that a lot of people try to pick up on are set up flawlessly on this motorcycle. Of all of the sport touring bikes that I've had a chance to ride, this motorcycle, the Pan America, has the absolute best ergonomics of the group. For my body size and my body type, I could not hope for a better fit. So those are some subjective criteria that have been met greatly, right? But what about the subjective? And that's the power and the handling, and what does it truly feel like to ride once you start riding this thing? I guess that's subjective, but you see what I'm saying. Let's start talking numbers. First of all, 150 horsepower and 569 pounds. I want to question that 569 pounds because this motorcycle feels like some of the middleweights that I've ridden. This bike is so easily flickable. Maybe it's part of the ergonomics that I was just talking about earlier. I was just immediately so comfortable in the saddle of this bike. Maybe it was that adjustable suspension with all of the different riding modes. Keep in mind, this bike will automatically adjust the suspension for your weight and the mode that you're riding in. It's pretty trick. But all of that aside, this bike, whatever the recipe was to get us here, feels like a middleweight as you're just riding the motorcycle. It's very flickable. It's not darty, but it is easy to push in and out of a lane like you would not believe a bike of this size could be. The other thing is the power, though. We got to talk about this 150 horsepower. It's all there, but I'll tell you that it is such a smooth power delivery. Going down the highway, there's no hint of this thing being rowdy at all, although it is very powerful. A quick twist of the throttle in sixth gear at highway speeds will usher you into triple-digit speeds a little bit more quickly than this motorcycle has any right to. And it does so comfortably that you may not pick up on the fact that you're in the middle of kind of getting there quicker than you might have thought. So there is that. But this motorcycle doesn't just run well on the highway. Grab this throttle, wide open, low gears. This thing wants to burn the tire and do wheelies. Check it out, it's in the video. This bike is so playful and lively. I didn't think a bike like this had any right to act like that. And that's why in the ride-along video, I'm so giddy with this bike. At one point, I started to take for granted that I had this big V-twin, this torquey lump, if you will, that was powering me through traffic. But the second I got to really lay into the throttle and have some fun with this thing, it came alive. It really felt like it came more into its element in that respect, and it was just bored with me riding it slow on the highway. So guys, yes, this motorcycle is that good. It is a bit pricey though, at about $20,000, but let's be honest, Harley Davidson's, this is a brand that people aspire to. And when it comes to their cruisers, they are the top of the food chain. They are what is copied. And I gotta tell you, without going way too far, I would have to say that Harley Davidson has built a bike now in the Pan America that other manufacturers, well, they wanna keep up. They might want to start doing a little bit of what Harley Davidson did, because this bike has set the standard for me for sport touring bikes, but it's also helped to set the standard for me with Harley Davidson as a brand. If Harley can make this type of a bike, can they make more bikes like it? What about the Street Fighter or the Bronx? Can they come out with that with this engine or with that 970 for the smaller displacement variant? Oh my goodness, if it had even a third of the personality of this Pan America, it would be a hit, a winner, and it would have all kinds of new customers walking through the doors of Harley Davidson dealerships. So guys, that's a wrap on this post-ride review. Post up your comments if you've got one of these bikes. I'd love to hear about what kind of adventures you're getting into with it, and I hope to see you on the next one. Take care.